Today I'm looking at a Judge Judy episode where two 8-year-old boys are accused of vandalising a neighbour's property in a basement. I used to be a massive fan of Judge Judy, so much so that I would record every episode when I was at work so I didn't miss a beat. But in fairness, I used to be a fan of Dr. Phil also, so times do change. I think Judge Judy, Judith Sheindlin, is about 82 years old now, and her show stopped recording a few years ago. But I haven't watched her for a long time, so this is the first episode I've watched in a couple of years. Let's take a look at how she handled these two young boys and see whether you think she got it right.
Unsupervised.
So the boys were out playing?
Running wild.
The two boys were coming around the corner and I just started screaming at them.
And up to no good.
What did they show you that they did?
There was a blowtorch, I think knives, crowbars, and some tape they put in the trunk of the car. They did say that they were going to take the car.
Which one of you likes to talk more?
This is Judge Judy.
Mr. Bauer, you keep some property in, is it the basement of a building that your dad owns?
Correct.
And these two little boys, while they were unsupervised by their parents, got into that basement.
They did.
On what date did this happen?
March 9th, 2019.
Was that a weekday or a weekend?
It was a Saturday weekend.
Do your sons live in the same building or community?
Same town. Same town they live in.
Well,
On the same block?
Okay, so they live on the same block?
Yes.
And they've been friends for a while?
Yes.
How far away is your block from the plaintiff's building?
I would say maybe like 3 houses away.
3 houses?
Yeah, about 3 houses away.
So it's not much of a travel.
Yes.
So the
We are humans. What we do is we judge. We make immediate decisions on people. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong. This happens a lot in social psychology, and there's been a lot of really interesting experiments done on this, where you get someone, dress them up, and immediately people value them more because of the way that they dress or present themselves. So in court, it makes sense to present well. The gentleman presents well, he looks neat and tidy, he's wearing a shirt and a tie. But criminals can put on a shirt and a tie. It doesn't really mean much, but it does help with that first judgment. On the other side though, there is this unwritten rule about having your shoulders exposed in a court. Typically, if you go into a court, you do cover up your shoulders. Not that that means anything, it is just a standard rule that sometimes is applied. I've actually seen Judge Judy kick people out and get them to put on more appropriate clothing. But look, they're dressed okay. The two children also look really cute. They're dressed well, nice haircuts, but there's something about the little boy on the left, the one with the blonde hair, that looks a little bit cheeky.
The boys were out playing.
Yes.
Which one of you likes to talk more?
Of course.
You don't like to talk? No? We'll start with you up here. Tell me your first name.
Caden.
You know who I am, right?
Scary grandma.
It's not an answer. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, and how old are you?
8.
And what's your friend's name?
Dylan.
Do you remember going into Mr. Bauer's basement?
Yes.
How many times did you go into Mr. Bauer's basement?
Once.
Now, when someone answers a question very quickly like that, how many times did you go into the basement? Once. Either he knows he's going to be asked that question and he's already practiced his response, or he's telling the truth. He didn't stop and think about it. So something tells me that's correct. That's truthful.
I want you to think real hard. How many times did you go into Mr. Bauer's basement?
Like in the building?
How many times, let's go, how many times did you go in his building?
One.
Now, because Judge Judy asked that question again, the young boy has to clarify it. Do you mean in his building? So he has actually answered honestly, but he thinks maybe he's answered incorrectly. So he's seeking clarification here. He also is looking directly at her and answers again, a second time, once. This is an honest answer.
Once.
How many times did you go in his basement?
Once.
Are you sure?
What do you mean about the basement? The upstairs or the downstairs?
I'm going to ask you again because you like...
Okay, what do you mean about the basement, the upstairs or the downstairs? He's 8 years old. Maybe he's thinking, is the basement the one down the bottom or is it the attic up the top? He's seeking clarification. He's not trying to lie or mislead here. He's just not sure what he's being asked. And I think he wants to answer honestly.
to talk and you sound like a very smart boy and you understand that It's easier if you don't make up a story, because if you make up a story, you have to have a good memory, because you have to keep it in your mind. If you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory, because it's just what happened. So you don't have to constantly go back, because I'm going to ask you a lot of questions that'll get very confusing if you lie to me. Do you understand?
Yes.
How many times were you in Mr. Bauer's building?
Once.
How many times were you in the basement?
At least 5.
Okay. And when you go into the basement, what do you do?
5 times.
I thought you liked to talk. I thought you liked to talk. So remember what I told you before. Nobody's going to put you in jail.
Yes, I know.
No, you know that. And you know, the only time you get in trouble when you lie to somebody who has a black rope like this, when you tell something that isn't true to somebody, is when you don't tell the truth. That's the only time you get into trouble. Do you understand? So you went into the basement 5 times. So, I mean, I've had 8-year-old children and grandchildren. They don't go back to the same place unless they're having a good time, unless they're doing something
It was
there.
only one day.
So what?
Does it mean
who
like
said-
I spoke. It was only one day.
Okay, you can sit down now.
Okay, just want to say you can go into a building once and into the basement 5 times. I think what the boy is saying, on one occasion, he went into that building on one day, as the mother is saying, one time, but they must have gone somewhere else in between, down to the basement multiple times. You saw the little blonde hair boy looking in disbelief 5 times. Maybe it wasn't exactly 5 times, and the young boy on the stand actually clarifies, I think it was about. So it appears they were in the building once, but multiple trips to the basement. So it doesn't appear to be any actual disagreement with that.
Now I'm going to see the damage that your children did, because when I'm asking questions, you don't interfere.
I did not know, Your Honor.
You don't interfere.
Okay. Yes,
Great,
ma'am.
great. So now I'm not going to have him
That's fine.
correct something that his mother said, who wasn't there, who doesn't know. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Very good.
I don't think he was going to correct something his mother said. I think the mother's trying to clarify. It was one day, it was one time in the building, but they've gone to the basement multiple times. Judge Judy has already decided that the boys have vandalized, and I think that's accurate. I think they probably did vandalize, but she's getting caught up in semantics and she's not listening. She hasn't put on, as Judge Judy says, her listening is.
Good. So now we're just going to see damage that he says that your sons did while trespassing in the basement.
Okay. On the one Saturday.
No, just a second. Listen to me.
That was interesting. I might watch that again. What did that little boy say? Was that a high five? Was that reassurance? What was that?
Did while trespassing in the basement.
Okay.
Good
on the
job.
one Saturday.
No, just a second.
Good job.
Listen to me. You weren't there,
Correct.
okay? So either you're calling your son a liar.
No, he does
No,
not
just
lie.
a second. Well, he says he was in the building only once, but he was in the basement at least 5 times.
Possible.
That's what he said. And you said only once. You weren't there. And you're not supervising him all the time, which you should be doing with an 8-year-old child.
Yes, he should be supervising an 8-year-old child, but I don't think there was actually any discrepancy there, any disagreement. In the law, we have a concept called Dolly Incapax. It's a Latin word that means without evil. In Australia, Dolly Incapax extends to children up to 14. There is an area between 10 and 14 where the courts and forensic psychologists will probably interview a child, but we assume that a child is without criminal intent. They are too young, their brains have not developed to an extent where they can actually formulate and apply criminal intent. Were these boys in the basement vandalizing? I would say they were, and I would say the parents weren't supervising adequately. They're 8 years old. They should not be in someone else's property multiple times in a basement with the opportunity to vandalize someone else's things. But far out, Judge Judy would be a scary woman to face, even as an adult, much less an 8-year-old child.
Sounds scary.
Sometimes.
I think the kids are quite mischievous. I think the parents are probably a little dismissive, maybe negligent. I don't know. I think if you're not watching an 8-year-old, there's possibly a little bit of negligence. Judge Judy, I still love you, but they're 8-year-olds. What do you think about this one? Did Judge Judy get this right? Was she quick to intervene? Could she have been a little bit more gentle on an 8-year-old, or do you think she got it spot on? Curious to hear your thoughts. See ya.
Good.